Okay, so England-Tonga, the third and final test of a three-match test series. They were playing at Headingley. England women and Wales women had played earlier on in the day, so the pitch had had a bit of wear on it. Of course, it's rained. It's rained from full time of the England-Wales women's test match to the start of England-Tonga in the men's test match. It's rained a lot in the preceding days, so slippery surface, so that did have an impact on the game. There was a fair few drop balls today by both sides. The refereeing. The less said about the refereeing, I think, for the better. I think mixed day with the officials. Some big calls that we will discuss. There were some yellow cards. There's also a disallowed try, and we can discuss them. I think at least one of those yellow cards shouldn't have been a yellow, and the disallowed try, I think, should have been given. That's personal opinion. People can disagree with that, but I think there were some missed calls there by the officials. I think both sides at various points can be a bit disappointed with some calls going against them. But in the second half, Tonga's discipline completely deserted them. And then the last 15, 20 or so minutes, England just lost focus after their last try by Harry Newman in the last 15 or so minutes. And I think they will be disappointed, A, by conceding a try right at the end, and B, with how they finished the game. But it's finished 26 points to 4 to England, so they'd won the game comfortably by the time they start losing that little bit of focus. But they didn't put in an 80-minute performance, which will be disappointing, and they didn't keep Tonga to nil. Tonga, too ill disciplined. You can't blame the officials for their poor discipline and some of their poor play and lack of structure. England did have lack of structure to playing unstructured, attacking in an attacking sense because they'd won the arm wrestle. Tonga were unstructured from the get-go. There was no real structure to their play. Their try comes from the only bit of structure they really had in the game. They were too individualistic. Much like last week, too many individual performances, not a team performance. England earned the right to play a bit of off-the-cuff, unstructured attacking play because when they did have that arm wrestle and they had to gain territory and gain field position, they did it in a structured, competent manner. Best way to describe it. But the tries themselves were brilliant. I mean, one of them, the crossfield kick, is ridiculous. But Ben Curry, normally a back rower, playing at left centre, had a very good game, both in defence and attack, and I think he does deserve his try after 14 minutes. And as I say, that arm wrestle, England win the early arm wrestle, they win the territory game. When they finish their set of six, their kicking game was much better, and it's a very well worked try. England had a lot of joy down their left-hand side. The Tongan defence could not cope with that. Their right-hand side defence could not cope with England's left-hand side attack. So when Elliot, Whitehead and Curry, Bateman with his offloads, they could not cope with that attack. And it does come from Bateman starting the attack with an offload. Then the big forwards get in, the front row forwards, then the outside backs and the halves. It ends up in Curry's hands and he scores the try. But that is a team try. That's from 14 minutes. Harry Smith converts that. Matty Ashton scores yet another try in this test series. He's had a fantastic test series in attack and in defence, but in attack he's been brilliant. And it's the Harry Newman pass, really. Yeah, yes, John Bateman is involved with an offload, but it's Harry Newman who really makes that try with the back of the hand pass. So easy to delay the pass and try and give a very obvious telegraph pass. Very subtle back of the hand passes out the back of the hand. And Matty Ashton, as all good wingers should, is in a good supporting position, hugging that touchline, holding his width. The Tongan defence has come in to deal with Harry Newman and John Bateman. He's unmarked. He's no one in front of him, and it's a great try. Another team try. Good bit of structured play, building up, getting up the field in the set six, and then the unstructured attack, which England looked really good at doing with pace. Rather than being under pressure playing unstructured, they were the ones applying the pressure whilst playing unstructured, and Harry Smith converts. Harry Smith also slots a penalty on 33 minutes, and England have now worked themselves into a comfortable 14-0 lead. But there's never really a comfortable 14-0 lead in rugby league, but they're in a comfortable position. They're in a commanding position, and they've earned the right to be ahead. They've won that territory battle. They're better with the discipline. And then Matty Lees does something really, really stupid. Also, I wouldn't say cowardly, but a little bit cynical and a bit petulant. Kolomatangi is part of... no, not Kolomatangi. Moses Suli hits him hard. Fair tackle. absolutely drills him. And then Matty Lees decides to pull his hair. He deservedly gets a yellow card. That's not the controversial yellow card. Keon Kolomatangi should not be given a yellow for coming in like that. Both sets of players come in, bit of handbags. What you would class as the third man in kind of penalty when the old biff used to be a thing, when fighting used to be sort of tolerated in league. No punches are actually thrown. A lot of pushing and shoving and shirt pulling. But Matty Lees, that is a petulant bit of ill discipline, pulling the player's hair. You can see that Suli he's completed the tackle. He wants to get out of the tackle area, get back to marker, and his hair's been pulled. That is a petulant, childish act by Matty Lees, deservedly a yellow. Kolomatangi should not have got yellow for that. I don't know what the on-field officials and the TMO have decided and communicated, but that's not a yellow. That there is no yellow there. That is a head scratcher for me and a very questionable decision. So 12 players apiece now on the field. And that obviously, start the second half, still both 12 players on the field. Now, Elliot Whitehead scores his try in 44 minutes. And that, again, is this unstructured attacking play with the offloads and the fast pace and good support running. And Elliot Whitehead has made a career in the back row, occasionally in the centres on the left channel, of doing this, of being that supporting player. That left-hand side attack for England was fantastic today. And Elliot Whitehead scores his try in his final test match for England. He is retiring at the end of next season. He's been a great servant, not only to English International Rugby League, but also the Canberra Raiders in the NRL. And this is his last full season coming up, but this is his last test match. And that is great back row forward support play. But it was a great team move down that left-hand side. Multiple players involved. Great handling in testing conditions, and it was a great try. And Harry Smith converts it. And then Conrad Hurrell's yellow. I don't think there can be an argument with this. That's 3 really badly attempted punches. They're swinging arms. This is where Tonga do lose the plot. Their discipline's gone. Conrad Hurrell's boiled over. It's not the worst bit of foul play I've ever seen. Doesn't really make great contact, but he is attempting 3 really badly attempted punches. He's lost his discipline. He's lost his cool. Symptomatic of the Tongan team, the frustration there. And he's sent to the bin on 56 minutes. Now, while I thought Kolomatangi should not have been sin-binned, Conrad Hurrell deserves a sin-bin there. There's not a lot of debate with that. Shortly thereafter, Elliot Whitehead had a try disallowed. I don't know what the on-field officials are seeing there, but there is I believe there's still downward pressure. That's a bit of a 50-50 one, but I've seen more dubious ones given. Let's just say that. I have seen them not given, but I've seen more dubious ones given. But it's a great through kick. And it's, again, Elliot Whitehead has made a career of this. He's very, very good as a support player. Either in the back row or as a left centre, more so as a back row. But he's very, very good at doing these runs with kicks through, putting on kick pressure, and in this case, attempting to score a try. I don't think it should have been disallowed because, as I say, I've seen more dubious ones given in Super League and in the NRL and at Test level. I have seen more dubious ones given with less downward pressure and less control. But Elliot Whitehead, at this stage in his career, is still showing that desire and that willingness to chase the kick down, apply kick pressure, that kind of thing, follow the kick through. All those little things, still showing that desire at this stage in his career is fantastic. He's been a great servant for the game, and it's unfortunate that try was disallowed in 62 minutes. And I think that can be an area where England can feel a bit aggrieved by the officiating, because I do feel the officiating was not great today. The Harry Newman try, however, very similar to some of the other tries which were created down England's left. The offloading, the passing, the support play, and then Harry Smith with the most ridiculous, audacious crossfield kick into Harry Newman's arms, almost pinpoint. That is a ridiculous crossfield kick. Very early in the tackle count. It wasn't on the 5th tackle. Obviously, they've seen that the Tongan defence is all over the place, and there is an opportunity to have a 2-on-1 overlap and outnumber the defence on the right-hand side. I think he was probably more likely aiming for Matty Ashton, to be fair, or Newman to get the ball to Matty Ashton because of his pace. But Harry Newman juggles the ball a little bit, regains control, and has enough to break a tackle, slide in, and Tyson Frizzell can't stop him. They do check for a double movement, but the try is given. There's enough momentum with using the wet pitch to slide through and get the ball down in the in-goal area for that to be given a try. Harry Smith converts that. That's probably the best bit of play that I've seen in the two test matches out of the three that I've watched. It was a brilliant bit of vision by Harry Smith, and it's a ridiculous attempt at a crossfield kick. Is it the best crossfield kick technically? No. Hence the juggle by Newman, but I believe that has been called by Ashton and Newman on the right-hand side. The Tongan defence has all been drawn to the left-hand side. They're all at 6s and 7s. There's been multiple phases of offloads and passes and support play, but it is an audacious crossfield kick, and it's quite entertaining. But not long after, England start losing their focus. They're 26-0 up. And they lose their way a little bit, and they lose that intensity that they've shown for the previous 64 minutes. They clearly won the territory battle. They won the discipline battle at this point, although they would start giving away silly penalties. And they lost that intensity. Now, this is a criticism I've had of this England side going back to the World Cup, and even before then, even before the last World Cup, under the previous Wayne Bennett era, is they could not play an 80-minute game. They still cannot play an 80-minute game. They lost that intensity, they lost that focus, and Tonga finally put a team effort together where they're not playing as individuals. They start playing a good structure. Katoa, the back row Katoa, not the halfback Katoa, scores his try because Tonga started attacking as a team. Rather than having individual efforts and individual attempts, they finally strung together some phases of play. They're starting to put England under pressure. England are starting to give away penalties, and it's a well-worked try. It's their best passage of play in the game. They had a poor game in possession. Too many one-up runs, not enough team play, too many individualistic efforts. Now, unfortunately, Isaiah Katoa misses the conversion quite badly, but they started to show in the last 10 or so minutes they were on top. The momentum had swung, but the game is gone. It's unfortunate that Tonga decided to start playing late on. If they had played like this maybe in the first half or earlier in the second half, it could have been a different outcome. They've allowed England to build a lead and then, extend that lead. Their discipline hasn't been good enough, but then England's discipline lets them down as well towards the end. There is some good defence in there to keep it just at 4 points conceded. I think England will be disappointed, however, with their last 12 or so minutes of play, including conceding that try. But overall, with some average officiating throughout this Test match series, this 3-match series, I think England have been the better side as a team unit. Tonga on paper do have the individual brilliance. This is where matches aren't won on paper; they're won by teamwork, discipline, structure, and that's where England have come out on top. But on paper, you would say Tonga are favourites going into this series, but the outcome is a 3-0 series win to England. Now, it will be interesting to see the next time there's an England or Great Britain tour down under, how they perform, considering back in 2019 they lost 3 tests 2-0 and they were whitewashed by PNG, Tonga and Fiji. They were not great 4 years ago. It's remarkable what a turnaround since 2019 England have had. They were really in a good position in 2018 when they beat New Zealand 2 tests to 1. Back in 2019 we had that Lions tour. It was a disaster. Obviously Wayne Bennett's out, Sean Wayne's in. Sean Wayne, I think England did really well, and then the semi-final in the World Cup happened. And as I say, England didn't put in an 80-minute performance in that game. And also, this was not the strongest England side that could, in theory, have been named. There were players not named in this squad for a variety of reasons, either to give them some rest or they are injured. So Dominic Young and Herbie Farnsworth, for example, weren't in this team. So this wasn't the strongest England team that could have taken the field. and they prevailed 3-0 in the Test series. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on the game below. I actually did feel that the on-field officials and the off-field officials had a bit of an average game. Some questionable decisions going both ways, and I think in the last test there were some questionable decisions. Because I didn't watch the first test, I can't comment on the refereeing performance. But by reports, again, there's been some controversy there. So the standard of refereeing and the interpretation of rules between Super League and NRL standard of referee is going to create a debate. But I felt England have acquitted themselves as a unit really, really well. Tonga, some great individual players and great individual talent, but as the series went on, their performances declined, and yeah, the scorelines got bigger. So a lot to ponder for the Tonga setup, considering that this Tonga setup and the structures they built and put in place in recent years have beaten Australia. They have, beaten New Zealand, and for some reason, in this 3-match series and in the World Cup last year, they've just come up short. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will have some more content for you very, very soon.